Former Chipotle workers gathered outside the Chipotle in Columbia Heights, Washington, D.C. to demand their 2 weeks' pay. That after being fired earlier this month with no warning.
Very, very cold day when I came across a dozen workers huddled together. Some of them were crying. They were very distressed. They told me that they had just been fired. But what really shocked me was the way that they were fired.
CNSnews.com spoke with D.C. Council member Michael Brown and protest organizers to get their take on the firings. Because the workers in question were not eligible to work legally at Chipotle, why is the company now obligated to pay those illegal workers?
Well, see, it's not an immigration issue for me. Frankly, if there was issues with the documentation, they never should have been hired in the first place. So that is not my issue. The issue is, but once they were hired, then they were obligated by the employer to be paid in full. And that's the issue that I'm fighting for. For me, I'm not getting involved in the merits of the immigration issue, the documentation, because again, they shouldn't have been hired in the first place if the documentation was not proper.
So it's interesting, in this instance, we're not really sure why the workers were terminated. So they were fired en masse and not given any sort of explanation. So one of the major demands that they have is, both for themselves and then moving forward, give some sort of explanation. If Chipotle believes there are errors in documentation for these workers or others, we would encourage them to give workers notice and then give workers an opportunity to correct errors. We hear stories of, for instance, refugees who have valid employment authorization in the United States, but because of a paperwork error are coming up as unauthorized to work.
Christopher Goins, CNS News, Washington.